Joining us for our next segment is my friend Anil. She is a documentary filmmaker and a friend of Bold. Welcome, Alicia.
Thank you for having me.
Hello.
Hello.
So it's Black History Month here this month. And why is Black History Month so important to Americans in particular?
I have to precede this by going back to my own background. I wasn't born in the U.S. I was born in Brazil, which is a country that has a lot of fraught race relations, but it doesn't see itself as that way. And when I first moved to the U.S., I was astounded. I was 10, and I sat in, the lunch table, and it was astounding to me that all the black kids sat in the same table, and then all the Asian kids in the same table, and the white kids in the same table. And in Brazil, it's much more mixed, right? If you're black, you're white, and it's the divide tends to be one of class that does cut across racial lines. And I think this personal experience of mine is also reflective of what you see in America today when it comes to housing, when it comes to health, when it comes to schools. And because in spite of the progress that has been made when it comes to the standing of Black Americans in the U.S., it's not nearly where it should be when you compare it to the white population. So I think it's really important to not only have society look at Black Americans as contributing significantly, but also look at the history of where we've come, why we're here now, and what we still have to accomplish.
Let me ask you this. Do you also think this month is an opportunity for us to have those conversations across the country and share not just African-American history, but also to share the stories of other different race and religious backgrounds who also helped the civil rights movement, to kind of show that we're more alike than different? Should this month also be an opportunity for healing across America as well?
I mean, Carrie knows this. I'll take an opportunity for healing at any moment. I think that's definitely what this country needs, especially now. I think definitely I would encourage that, but in particular, I do think that it's not only about celebrating the achievements of prominent African Americans that have helped America overcome so much and achieve some vestige of racial equality, but it really is about coming to having, I guess, a historical recognition of where we've come from. And yes, there have been so many other groups that have contributed, and we also don't include. So it's an opportunity to look at history and who's left out and why we choose to leave those out. I don't know about you, but I had an African American history class in high school, and I also had world history and U.S. history. And my U.S. history class mentioned African American history very, very, very little. You know, it was my option to choose to pursue that further, and I think that that's a mistake. And it's telling African Americans that they haven't, they're not a significant part of U.S. history the way that it's currently taught today.
Absolutely. Well, and that's what I'm curious about, because I interviewed an African-American woman who's a podcast host, and she said she hopes for the day when we don't have to have Black History Month, because in some ways it's sort of almost like a neo-segregation or kind of tokenism to say this is our 1 month when we're going to focus on it, and then the other 11 months of the year, meh. What do you think about that? And do you think there's truth to that? From my perspective, I think that every month and every day should be all cultures and all histories that were integrated.
I feel the same way that she does, and I don't know how you feel, but of course I want a day where we don't have to distinguish African American culture and history from U.S. culture, because they're inextricably linked and they should be taught along the same veins. But I asked a friend of mine this yesterday because I knew I was coming here, and he's very cerebral, and I was like, Philip, do you think we'll ever not need African American history? He said, absolutely not. And the cynic in me says no. I think the more hopeful part of me would think that we're aiming towards a direction where we won't need that. But I think right now it is really important to celebrate the achievements and the history separately, because they're not taught along the same veins.
Absolutely. I would agree that we absolutely need Black History Month. I don't think we will ever get away from not having Black History Month. Let's just look at the country, you guys. Look at the country. Look how disfranchised African Americans are. I had the opportunity to go to a historical Black college and university where there was nothing but African American history there, and so I was sucked into that. But as I matriculated out in the world and to the workplace and to graduate school after my undergraduate studies, the portion of African American history that's taught along the lines are slim to none. And I asked the same question when I read my strip at dinner last night. And some of my friends there in Washington said, Black History Month is for them, not us, because we live it 365 days a year. So, you know, we all have our opinion on that. But my opinion, Carrie, I don't see us getting away from Black History Month anytime soon.
But
does that mean we'll get away from MLK Day, Dr. King?
Yeah. I mean, I would challenge that because you said that that if I understood correctly, that Black history is for them, not for us. What do you mean by that?
No. I said I asked some friends that question,
some friends, and they
said that Black history was for them and not for us. I believe that Black History Month is for all of us. Mm-hmm. I believe that it's an opportunity for unity, it's an opportunity for healing, because if Black History Month is utilized the right way, we can have even more conversations as we're celebrating. We can invite people who don't think like us to all tables, and it's an opportunity to hear each side of our opinions and also bring about healing. I do believe that for racial reconciliation and healing, we have to come together and listen to each other and talk to each other. And I think having this particular month that we spotlight that is very important.
I agree in terms of celebrating, and I don't think in my lifetime we won't need this as much as I wish that history was entirely integrated all year round. But I guess my question is, because you mentioned MLK Day versus Black History Month, because MLK Day is really about someone who, in my opinion, was pursuing a universal dream, and a dream that had to do with, he literally said, I dream of the day when people will be judged by the content of their character and not the color of their skin. So my question then is African American History Month or Black History Month, you know, again, just kind of pigeonholing people that were so focused on race that it would potentially just continue to divide the country?
Oof, that's a big one, Carrie. What if it would continue to divide the country? No, because I think if we were to not do that, then we're denying something that's very real and that exists, you know, not only in a visceral reality of walking down the street every day or people's own individual experiences, but also just in facts and statistics. If you could talk about Obama, right, and the creation of this post-racial society that once we had the first Black president, then, you know, America's not racist anymore. We elected a Black man. So look how far we've come. And that's undoubtedly symbolically a big step forward. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that that ignoring those issues means that, you know, like that it goes away, or focusing on race means that it alienates people. Inevitably, I think it'll alienate people. Like Carrie and I, we always talk about this, right? Liberals have a tendency we like to call everybody racist, like with any indication, and I think that's also incredibly alienating, and it's more important to talk from a place of understanding and have a dialogue rather than yelling at people that may think differently than you. I went in a bit of a digression, but
no, Lacey, I love your digressions all the time. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, and it was a pleasure meeting you.
Nice meeting you as well.
Of course.
Great.